one thing that you've kept mentioning about is fail versus freedom, I
Fear
think.
versus freedom. Yeah.
Fear versus freedom, and you say to embrace that fear. Now, it's such an easy thing to say. How do you how do you do that? What would you say to a young athlete? How do you embrace fear and make fear something not you're chasing, but hey, yeah, okay, I'm in the situation, but I'm gonna get after it.
Yeah, look, I think there's two opposite ends of the spectrum. There's fear and there's freedom. And I think that the best athletes, when they're at their best, they play with freedom. And to play with freedom, you've got to have this really important word of acceptance. You've got to accept that it could go wrong. You've got to accept that the outcome might not be what you want it to be. But so many athletes play with fear, and that's fear of what? Like the what ifs. What if I lose? What if I'm not good enough? And like our brain plays these tricks on us, or has this way of like really going into worst case scenarios of like, not necessarily consciously, but like a lot of people think if I lose, my family isn't going to love me. If I lose, I'm not valuable, and therefore my parents aren't going to love me as much as they do. If I win, my parents are going to love me more. And that's not the fault of the athlete. Often that's the way they've been parented. And often it's the parents just not understanding the importance of their behavior. Now, I've never met a parent who doesn't want what's best for their kid. Every parent wants what's best for their child. But that doesn't mean they know how to behave. And what I'm talking about is, and when I say this, everyone will understand this, the car ride home is the number one reason kids quit sport. Because when things go well, what do the parents do? They celebrate. Yes, they're happy. They've got this excitement inside them, and they express it. Well done, little Satch. You got 100 runs today. We're so proud of you. We love you. Let's go and celebrate. Let's go and get ice cream. Let's go and like have a great day. We're so happy. The next week, and how does that make you feel? You feel so warm and love and connected, and that's what you want as a kid. You want your parents to just love you deeply and want you and make you feel special. And then the next week, you nick off for a dark, and your parents are trying to help. Let me say this. They're trying to help. They sort of understand what might have gone wrong, and you get in the car and they go, so Satch, what happened today? Why did you nick it? What can we do better next week? All right, let's go to the nets tomorrow. And how does that make you feel? You feel this sense of like unworthiness. You're not worthy. Like you haven't got that love and warmth. Your parents are like grilling you, or they're why didn't it work? What's going on? And therefore, they're completely different. So you feel like your value is higher when you're doing well and lower when you're not doing well. And that's how so many athletes are, because of how they've sort of been raised and how they've been parented. And so for me, what I try and coach parents, and I speak to a lot of parents, I coach and mentor a lot of parents, is we've got to learn to be consistent in our behavior, regardless of what we're feeling. When our kid gets 100, we might be so excited. They win a race. We're so excited. But we've got to try and take a deep breath and go, well done. I love your effort. And then they get a duck or they come last or whatever, and we're feeling really down or flat and we think we can help them, but we got to go, well done. I loved your effort. Did you do your best? Oh, awesome. It doesn't matter. You did your best. That's awesome. And we praise the effort, not the outcome. And so, yeah, that's something that I think it affects so many athletes. And then their value is defined by their results, because that's how they've been raised.
What about the argument of, sometimes you got to go through the school of hard knocks?
Of course
Is
you
there a
do.
time and place for it? From a parent's perspective.
Well, look, I think that everyone is their own harshest critic. And so I think there's a time to ask questions and maybe try and help them with a reflection, but it's not straight after when the kid is feeling down already. Because if the kid's had a tough day, they're beating themselves up. So
Mhm.
I don't think it's necessary for a parent to then try and help, but really double down on how bad they're feeling. I think that,
Yeah.
let's say it's a Saturday morning and the kid gets out for 2 runs, plays a bad shot, gets out. Well, if the parent just sort of lets it slide, puts the music on, says, you pick the songs on the way home, and you go home, you get about your business all Saturday afternoon, Sunday, or maybe Monday you're at the nets and you go, oh, so what happened on the weekend? And you just
Mhm.
come from a curious, not judgmental point of view, and you're like, oh, this is what I think. You would just, remember we've been practicing this, or you went this. Well, then that's a much better way to have this conversation,
Mhm.
learn, than doing it on a Saturday soon as while their emotions really sort of high. And even
Yeah.
in professional environments, they embrace that now, where they do their reflections usually a day or two after,
Hmm.
not straight away when everyone's emotions high, because they let the emotion leave and then they talk sort of honestly and openly without emotion. Because when there's emotion involved, it's a really tough conversation. And so going back to your initial question, I think that you've got to embrace that you're going to have doubts, you're going to have worries, you're going to have concerns, but you want to really try and accept that things could go wrong. And when you really deeply accept, oh, it might not be my day today, well, that can allow you to shift out of playing with this fear and this tension, this anxiety, into playing with freedom, which is when most athletes play at their best.